Yazi sonke ukuthi isingisi kahle kahle akusona mother tongue yethu, but sifuna imisebenzi angenzi. Hey my loves, welcome back to another video. If you are new here, and if you are a returning sabi, thank you so much for popping back by. So this is probably the fourth, if not third video that I'm uploading about teaching and working in Taiwan, basically like covering the application process. So I've shared videos for the past 3 years explaining to you guys how you can maneuver around the process, how the process can be easier for you guys. So just to quickly update those who are new on my channel, because I know that a lot of people are still new on my YouTube channel and they might be quite interested in knowing what are the requirements of coming to teach in Taiwan. And those who are already here, who already know the information, do share to those who might need the information. And also this is just to quickly give you guys an idea. Until this day, I still receive quite a lot of emails and people who still need information and who would like to just know from me what is it that they can prepare and how they can go about the application process. So I'm just going to quickly show you guys, or tell you guys rather, the key important things you need to have before applying to teach in Taiwan. So let's jump straight into the video. When you prepare to apply to Taiwan, you need to first understand and know, are you applying to teach at a public school, or are you applying to teach at a cram school or private school or international school? So one might say, oh, I already have a teaching degree, which qualifies you, by the way, to teach at a public school or a government school in Taiwan, because it means if you have a teaching degree from South Africa, you would be someone who also qualifies to have a teaching license. If you have that particular document, then you would have two options. You could either apply at the government school or apply at a private school, international school, cram school. It's up to you. But if you are a qualified candidate who holds a bachelor's degree, could be in science, it could be in music or linguistics, but you don't have a teaching license and you don't have specifically a teaching degree, you can still apply to come and teach and work in Taiwan, but you would more so apply through the route of using the cram school, private school, international school routes. So those routes are quite different. Just to give you guys a quick idea, with the private schools, the international schools, you are likely to interact more with the schools directly. If you apply on websites such as Tilits, I will leave the websites on the screen. You are most likely going to apply directly to the schools and they will require specific documents that they need. Example, they might require you to have a TEFL or a TESOL certificate. They might require you to provide them with your pictures so they can see how you look like before they even consider giving you an interview, and many other documents that they might need, because they are, okay, in this regard, a private institution, so they more so like to or tend to hold their own interviews. Unlike in the government sector, you have a person, like a third person who you interact with. Those people, we call them the agencies, because we usually use agencies to apply through the government schools or the public schools in Taiwan. Although, however, it's possible to apply directly to the schools using different websites and also just approaching different schools. You might be lucky walking into a school and then to drop off your CV, and then you find that they actually do need a teacher. I know quite a few people who've been able to secure jobs directly through approaching the schools and directly getting a contract from the actual school rather than through an agency. However, if you go through the route of using an agency, that's when you have people like the coordinator who is going to help be the bridge between you and the school when it comes to the application process. And in that regard, I know that also other agencies, they do also take applicants. Example, Phoenix Group Asia, they do take applicants which they can place in the in the private sectors as well, like the cram schools, international schools. However, they are most likely going to accommodate more to the government schools. So if you are now applying for the government schools, because that's what I usually like to promote on my channel, and for several reasons, I'm not going to say people should not apply to teach at the private schools if they don't hold all the qualifications to qualify them for the government schools. However, if you can cross ships, do consider that, because of the work conditions you might find at the private sectors. There's more work to be done, so overload of work and so many other things that I feel like a lot of people should be mentally prepared for. Example, how they will treat you. Not saying that in public schools you won't get ill-treated, but I'm just saying in private sectors, it's more like getting into an organization. So what they say goes. It's like they run the show, and it limits your labor rights in a way, because they can sweep a lot of things under the carpet. Unlike in the government school, you are able to always reach out to the third party, which is your agency, if really you are struggling to cope and work well with your school and you just need a third person to intervene. It's easier, basically. So let's move back to the public schools or the public sector. So if you're applying to teach at a public school in Taiwan, you would need to make sure that you do qualify. So having a bachelor's degree is quite vital. I know that people who come from other countries, they're able to obtain their teaching licenses online. So even though they might not be qualified teachers, but as long as they have the teaching licenses, then automatically they are qualified to teach at the public schools, which goes to a different topic that I'll cover in another day, like when it comes to the way that people do things at school, especially us as foreign teachers, that I'll cover in a separate video. So you do need to have your bachelor's degree in education if you want to teach at a public school in Taiwan. It comes with good benefits. Example, you get also in the private school, you do get like some of these benefits. Example, the health insurance, those are common. Every school is supposed to sponsor your ARC, which is your alien residence certificate, your card. And also in the public or government schools, you get extra benefits like your yearly bonus. You do get bonuses in other institutions as well, but you also get like your tax refund, because in the government school, the first 6 months we need to pay 18% of tax, and then the other 6 months we pay about 5%, if I'm not mistaken, about 5% of tax. So we get like 90% of that money back. So you need to have that teaching license with your degree. It could be any degree, even in the public school, as long as you have your teaching license. A teaching license is important in the government schools. And then you need to apply for your visa from your home country and your work permit. So before you apply for the visa, you will obviously sign a contract with the school, and then if the school gives you or awards you the contracts, then they'll be able to sponsor your work permits as well as your application on forward. So you need to have your visa and your work permits. Also do bear in mind that there is a process you need to follow for your visa application. I did mention in my other video that when you apply for the visa, they will require documents, specific documents, including a bank statement. And I did say that when you apply through that process, because I know that back home abantu abaningi bayaxakeka emalini. The reason why ngikhuluma ngesiZulu manje because angifuni laba abanye babone or bezwe because bayakuthanda ukukhuluma. So abantu abaningi mabesuka ekhaya imali isuke ingekho. So if you are one of those people and you want to stretcha kahle imali yakho, I did say and I still say ungakwazi ukuthi uyithi lento. So into kumele uyenze before ubooke ama flights akho first, okay, uthi ngizame ngempela ukucuca isingisi, uyahamba uye ebank. Mawufika khona wenze lento le-statement ukuthi basenze kahle sivele ukuthi unamalini. Mhlawumbe let's say kwi-account yakho nemali engango uthi ngibona mhlawumbe nemali engango 20,000 uzoprinta ebank, guys, ebank, not kwi-ATM, ebank phakathi uthela akuprintele or cashier akuprintele. Ebese uyasithatha leso silokhunja usi-attach with your visa application to prove ukuthi you have enough funds ukuthi uhlale la, because when you apply they will give you like or put you on a tourist visa, so you need to keep that in mind. And then once you get here, your tourist visa will be transferred or turned into a residence visa or a work visa as soon as you get here. The last time I checked it was like that. I don't think that has changed. So anyways, and then uzothatha leyo mali leyo ke account lo 20,000 lo usubhuka ngawo ama flights, usuziprintile statement esivezayo ukuthi unawo 20,000 kwi account. Guys, that's the best tip I can give you, because let's be honest, uzothatha 20,000 no prove ukuthi unemali yokufika, uphinde ukuthathe omunye 20,000 o separate book flights. Exactly. So you need to do that via the visa process and all the other documents needed regarding that, which I can cover in one of the next coming videos. And then also you need to make sure you have your PCC ready, your police clearance certificates. Now when it comes to the police clearance certificates, I am aware it takes such a long time in South Africa. What I did with mine, I realized it was taking way too much time. See, I was able to call them at the offices in Pretoria and I did inquire. I was like, I've been waiting for so long and I've realized time is running out and I need my police clearance certificate. They were like, we can print it out for you, but you need to come collect it yourself. Luckily, I had someone who stayed in Pretoria. She was able to collect the document for me and I was able to retrieve the document via a scan. So you can pretty much like work with that. However, I do recommend you go to Pretoria to do your documents yourself. It's cheaper, it's more efficient, it's quick and easy. But there are people who help with those kind of necessities and who can help you with that. We call them agencies back home. However, they do charge a fee for their services. If you can travel to Pretoria to do your visa, do that. If you can travel to Pretoria to get your PCC, to collect your documents, just do that. For Taiwan, you don't need to authenticate your documents. You don't need to go to UDECO to get your documents verified. I hope it's gonna stay that for a long time or for a while because things keep changing. For now, it might be like that, but then we don't know what's gonna transpire in the next coming years. So if you are considering in coming abroad, keep it moving, like shishis, especially if you are considering Taiwan as one of your options, because Taiwan compared to most countries. And then also you need to have a valid passport. This one is very important. Having a valid passport is gonna enable you to really start the process before you even start the interview process. Okay, depends. But usually they will require you to send them a valid passport that is valid within 6 months of expiry, or that has more than 6 pages in it. And you have to send that passport. You also have to send your PCC to show that you don't have any criminal records held against you in your home country. Those kind of documents, they help to support your initial application, so they are quite important to have before you even apply. If you're someone who feels like, maybe you need more time, then I would highly recommend that you get all your documents ready before you even apply. It's easier when you apply and you just process everything, and then you just jump straight into the interview process. Within 4 weeks, you are ready to come to Taiwan. Okay, the next step is you need to have your university transcripts. Again, it depends on the person you're applying to. If you're applying via the if you are applying via the private sector, they might require you to provide them with your university transcripts, and also your passport photos, and also your resume or your CV. Those are important things, and cover letters. Those things might be needed in the... Sorry you guys, I just received a call. But anyway, so those are quite important to have just to validate your application. Also, you need to be someone who comes from a native speaking country, and your English needs to be clear. Like your accent, it has to be clear. It has to be clear. If you are still struggling, I've been saying in a lot of videos, practice. There's nothing wrong with practicing, because siyazi sonke ukuthi isingisi kahle kahle akusona mother tongue yethu, but sifuna imisebenzi angithi. So you practice how to articulate yourself in a better way, practice how to say some words differently, because when you come this side, things are changing, things are gonna change, and you need to be able to adapt to changes. Example, how I speak here with you guys, I try to just be as free as I can, but it's quite different when I go to the classroom. Not that I change and twang and whatnot, but I have to be more mindful of using specific terms and using a specific tone and way to make my students understand. I don't like to twang, because I want my students to understand exactly what I'm saying, and I want my co-teacher to understand every single word that I say. So I always try to articulate myself in a very clear way so that everyone around me can understand me. But Lana on YouTube, you just like speak freely. Hence, I always try to be, as free as I can be, compared to in class, where I have to be very mindful. Even when I'm making an example, the words that I use, I need to make sure the level, the academic level of my students will understand. Majority of them will understand the terms and the vocab that I'm using in my classroom. So be mindful of that. Also, you need to have a medical certificate. It's just that right now I'm not sure if Taiwan is back to letting you come in without having a medical certificate, and then they do it here in Taiwan. Before, it used to be like that. Before COVID, it used to be like that. We'd come here and then you would do the medical check here in Taiwan. But now I know that when I came back to Taiwan after COVID, I had to do my medical check at home. So during your application, if you do receive a form, an application form, a medical form that requires you to go to your nearby doctor or medical facility to get your medicals done, then you do follow that according to the requirements that are needed in the form or in the medical form. And also, you need to be willing to be teaching at rural areas or isolated areas when you come to Taiwan. Taiwan is not one of those places where everywhere you go it's fancy, it's easy to move around, as much as it's a well-developed country, if I may say so, because it's easy to move around. But but there are places where it's not that easy to move around, where maybe you have to wait till a certain time for transportation to be available, where you need to travel a specific distance to get into that place or into that area. So be mindful of that and be open to teaching in places that are isolated from the city side. And also have interpersonal communication skills. Be someone who's open to learning new things. Be open-minded. Be humble. When you get into an institution, it might feel uncomfortable, you know, like getting criticism. People will want you to do things a specific way. Always look at it as, okay, I'm here to learn, and be open to learning. Also considering the fact that some people do not know how to express themselves. They don't know how to say, hey, you shouldn't be doing this like that, you should be doing this like this. Be humble in the way that you are able to say, I hear you, but I don't think that's the right way to communicate things. Or be able to say, I hear you, but I feel like maybe, what if we do it like this? This is my idea. Like, don't be someone, when you come to Taiwan, I want you guys to understand that as much as, yes, things are run differently here, they have different policies, they have stuff going on here already placed to happen. Also, be someone who's open to sharing your own ideas. This is what I think, this is what I feel like could work, especially if you see that a system or a specific method does not work for you and your teaching style and your students. Be free to say or to propose that you would like to change this because of this, and as long as your backup plan or your idea best fits the situation at hand, it should work out perfectly. And also be someone who's willing to demonstrate understanding and respect to the culture and everything that is happening here, because people are not the same and we come from different places and different countries and different cultures and religions and beliefs and whatnot. So when you come here, you want to adapt. At the same time, do not lose yourself trying to fit in. So be open to learning, but also be someone who is going to know when it's time to speak up for themselves. And that's all part of your application process. I'm not going to come here and lie to you guys and say, I just come here, do whatever anyone says. When you come here, when you start working here, you will realize that some people will take advantage of the fact that you are here as a foreigner. I know, moving into a new country, we all want that opportunity. It sounds like a good idea. It sounds like a life-changing goal, but it's not always easy, and not all glitter is gold. You know, sometimes you get here and you realize that actually, ziyakhala. I'm not someone who's always going to come here and be negative about things, but if I'm going to be honest with you guys, taking this step and choosing to apply to come and teach and work in Taiwan is something that you need to do without me saying, oh, these are the resources. I can give you all the resources that you might need on paper, but it's all up to you to keep the job, and it's all up to you to understand because when you get here, at the end of the day, you'll be alone. You'll most likely be alone in that school or in that situation. Even if you have co-teachers, even if you have other foreign teachers at the school, at the end of the day, it all boils down to what are you doing in class and how are you able to cope and maneuver around your teaching at that school that you go to. So I do wish you guys all the best for your applications. If you do have any other questions, do drop them down below. If you have all the application documents ready, the application process will typically take about 4 to 8 weeks. But if you don't have some documents, it might take up to 3 months depending on which documents you need and which documents you want to process before coming here. Do save money if you are planning to come abroad, or if you are planning to come teach in Taiwan. Save money before you come here. Save as much as you can. When you get here, there are ways to get funds from your agency. Also inquire with the specific agency that you have chosen to apply with. I will leave down below description box different agencies and platforms you can apply at. I wish you guys all the best in your future plans and your future goals and what you want to achieve this academic year. I hope you guys are going to enjoy the second semester. Happy Chinese New Year in advance, and also take care and be well, be good, be in good health. See you guys on my next video. Goodbye.